good morning. I was pissing by the door. Hello. Hello, how are you? I have got a sore throat to go with my cold and lack of hearing. So that's fun. I mean, I don't have COVID, which is a good thing, but I do have a cold. And that's why today I wanted to talk about, I was thinking about imposter syndrome and stuff, but I wanted to, during our Natter, I wanted to talk about this whole thing about exhaustion and being tired. I went shopping the other day and everyone was walking around like in some kind of daze. Everyone was just a bit weary. I mean, we were in tier 2? It seems so long ago. I think we were in tier 2 and we went to tier 3 for a day. It was nice, little visit. And then we went into tier 4. So yeah, I think people were just kind of a bit dazed and wary about that really. But I'm thinking about, in particular, my everyday heroes, which are educators, and how exhausting it is at the minute. Not just people think, teachers, they have holidays and stuff. Holidays. So when I was teaching, I would work 36 weeks a year with the children. That's the term years. And then in the holidays, at half term, I'd be planning and doing my classroom and sorting it out. The last week, at the end of a term, I'd be sorting my classroom out and planning. The week before a term started, I'd be in there every day doing stuff. So you get like 4 weeks, like everyone else. Well, if they've got an amazing job, you get 4 weeks holiday. Anyway, there was 4 weeks in the summer where I didn't not think about work, but I wasn't doing anything for work. I was just like on holiday collecting stuff. And hey, Kay, how you doing? And so, at the best of times, teaching is kind of a full-on, full-time, full-self, full-fat job. And now at the moment with, people that I would take a bullet for, being under so much pressure with the whole, there's 4 T's now. It's track, trace, test, and teach if you've got time. The 4 T's that you have to do. And the school I'm governor at, asking for volunteers at the moment to help. And it's just breaking my heart. It's like, oh gosh, it's all hard. And what I'm seeing at the minute is a lot of people are just exhausted because not only, people may have forgotten, but it's also Christmas. So there's a lot of, in particular, there's a load of women in education. Obviously, a load of them have got kids. There's a lot of mums who are trying to, I'm not saying dads don't do this as well, but trying to, I'm just talking about my friends really at the moment, trying to provide a steady Christmas, some form of like order and certainty and joy in some way, on the back of worrying about what's happening on January the 4th. Are we going back to school? Are the kids going back? Am I going back? What's going to happen? What about the 3rd strain or the 4th strain or whatever strain it is at the minute? There's just so much thinking about. And it's the same as when you lose someone. It's the same as when grief. Hey, Sarah. Hey. Oh, my Auntie Jazz. Hey, Harry Bobs. It's the same thing as what we always think, just general tiredness. So here's the first thing. Knowing that you're tired. I mean, there's this like real thing about, in order to lead yourself, you have to know yourself, right? And we all think we're really good at knowing ourselves. We all think we're really self-aware, but there's different things at play. There's our choices that we make, which we also think we make ourselves, but we're very heavily influenced by peer groups, or marketing, advertising, uniting against or for a cause. We like to think we're, free-thinking individuals, but we're not. No, we are. There's no big brother thing. It's all fine. Don't start a conspiracy. And then there's also our nurture, and this is a huge factor in our worldview and who we are. Like, you have to keep working because if you don't, because your value is based on what you do. So if you don't work, you're not doing anything, so you're less valuable. So in order to keep your value, you have to keep working. That's one story. Another one is, like when I was a kid, my nan used to say children should be seen and not heard, which was quite hard to be a child, seen and not heard. But there's something around being brought up in a house where you are meant to suck it up, and be quiet and not make a fuss. And that has an impact. That's like ingrained deep in your psyche of like ought, should, rule book. And that plays out later on. And we all think we're not. No, I'm not affected by it. I'm all good. It's, yeah. These experiences form us. Schooling, education, gender roles, faith, society, people in our family. These things have a huge impact on us and ripple. And this is why it's important to know yourself, because if you don't get a grip on why you are who you are and what made you that way, then you just carry on in the same vein. Like I remember Derren Brown did a thing about, he does all these experiments. There was one where he did one on racism where he tried to get someone who had racist views to save the life of someone who was a different colour to them. I can't remember where with all ins and outs. And the guy who had racist views was saying, he's been interviewed at the beginning, and he said, "I'm not racist. That's just the way I was brought up." And I'm like, and for me, I'm like, I could kind of hear what you're saying there. It's like, but what you're actually saying, if we unpick it, is I have not made a decision about this. I am just following what some other people decided, and they may or may not have thought about it. They might have just been brought up the same, but I'm just going with them without considering any other evidence or data, which kind of makes you look worse than being racist, doesn't it? Because it makes you look like I don't think. I just do whatever anyone tells me. I know it's parents, it's not anyone, but there's something around the way that we've been brought up is the way that we accept is who we are and why we are and what we do, and that it's fine as long as you've thought about it first. Because I see a lot of my friends, a lot of colleagues, a lot of people I work with make decisions based on the woman they were told the world says they are, rather than the woman that they were destined to be. And I'm dissatisfied by that. I'm dissatisfied by people settling when it's not who they truly are. And what's it got to do with me? It doesn't make a difference. But in my line of work, that's what I encourage people to do, stand on the truth about themselves. So there's choices and there's nature. And there's also nurture, there's also nature, excuse me, like who you are at your core. And I think, like, when I think about me, my nurture was so heavily influenced who I am as a person, and a lot of it I've unpicked and chosen to not be defined by. But I always felt like my nurture cancelled out my nature, that I didn't, like I was so damaged goods that there was nothing about me that existed. Like the girl I was interrupted, and the woman I am has got nothing to do with who I was supposed to be, because I've made the best of a bad job. That was a narrative I had for a while. And then I realised that actually there are elements of me that I had like before, like at the core of me. Like I was always, by all accounts, I was always someone who was curious. I was always questioning, well, why do we do that? I remember asking my granddad, what are those little black spots called just on stuff? Like the little black, you just find a little black dot in the air. It's not dust. What's it called? Everything must have a name. So what is it called? Like really deep philosophical questions. And also my son Jacob is like rattle fire from when he was little. Mum, why do you never see any fat birds? Mum, what's fire made of? Mum, what do snakes do on holiday? I mean, it was just like constant. And I would go on Facebook and go, can anyone help me? I have no idea to the answers to these questions. And the boy's relentless. So it's that sort of nature. It's in nature to ask questions and be curious. And also being loving. I think that was part of my nature. I think that's part of my nature. I think it's been emphasised by now being really keen on belonging, community, and people being together. I have a lot of, witness. That's my big passion. But I still think just like loving people, loving being with people and people has been a real big thing for me as a nature. So you've got nature, nurture, and now. Nature, nurture, and choice. Nature, nurture, and now. And those three things are the sum of who you are. And exhaustion gets wrapped up in this, tiredness gets wrapped up in this, because what we tend to do is think that our value is based on what we do, so we've got to keep doing. Being is not valued. Whereas actually being, is who you are. Being is you're supposed to start with being and go to do stuff, and then come back to being and go and do stuff, and then come back to being. But what we tend to do is we go to do stuff and we keep doing stuff and we do until we can't do anymore, and then we collapse. And then we still say, oh, I feel guilty taking me time. It's not me time, right? It's not me time. Putting petrol in your car isn't me time. Putting petrol in your car makes your car run. So here's the thing. I've been working on this course I work with female entrepreneurs, and one of the courses is called Wellbeing for Idiots, because it really does feel the way I have considered my well-being in the past was idiotic. Like my well-being was, oh no, I must keep going. I like to give, I don't like to receive, or I just keep going. It's like, if we just unpick the narrative, I am not worthy of anything other than providing and working and doing. It's like, I believe that everyone deserves kindness, and I am a one, therefore I also deserve kindness, and I'm not being very kind to myself. I hate that when we talk about this, we talk about it as if it's all like woo-woo, oh, let's all have spas and have cake, and it's no. Well-being is creating a life that you don't want to shut down and run away and hide from all the time. That's what well-being is. It's living in alignment with your own values, living in alignment with your own why. It's fulfillment. It's not happiness, it's fulfillment, and it's essential for, a fulfilled life. And as it's coming to Christmas now, Christmas Eve, isn't it? Happy Christmas Eve. As it's coming to Christmas now, and there are people who've been working up to the bone, still working, school leaders still working, and obviously NHS, and, I'm NHS. Don't get me started. I'm talking, so everyday heroes, still working up to the bone. Tomorrow, won't turn off, won't switch off, because you're waiting. You could get a case at any time, then you've got to ring everyone and tell them, don't go anywhere. And also, you've got your own kind of thing going on with Christmas, whether that's coping with being on your own because you can't be with your family, or being with family that you actually really don't like, or, there's all sorts of stuff to go on. And all of it just causes this exhaustion and weariness. And I think that's what I saw in Oldie when I was there the other day. People just generally tired. So here's the thing. It's let's just demystify this whole thing from the get-go. There is in fact a sure-all cure. When you get tired, when you're weary, when you can feel it in you. And my tendency is when I feel that, I did it this morning, when I feel tired, what I tend to do is like, right, let's work harder and faster and more so I'll get it done and rest. So I'm a bit ill anyway. I've got a bit of a cold. I woke up this morning, I couldn't hear. So I'm shouting at everyone because I can't hear. Have you got them? So I come downstairs and I say, right, the floor's dirty. It's Christmas tomorrow. I want to make sure the floor's clean because we're all going to be sat on the floor. So I start hoovering, the dog objects, Leo object, everyone objects because I'm hoovering, and then I get more and more, right, I'm going to hoover faster, and it's like, and by the time I finish hoovering, I've got a sweat on because I was already knackered at the beginning and I still haven't had any breakfast you just get into these kind of cycles of not stopping, just being automatic, and being more intentional about the way you drive the machine that you're in, mind and body, is really helpful. So rest, sit down, do nothing, challenge yourself to see how long you can sit and do nothing for. I think my record is 12 seconds. Yeah, I'd like to see you beat that. Try and try and do nothing. I remember I was talking to a friend about this, and she was saying, when was the last time you just sat? And I'm like, I sit all the time. She's like, no, just sat. Not like, reading or on your phone or on a book or, watching telly or chatting, just sat. And I'm like, I'm sure I do that. She's like, okay, so when was the last time? And I couldn't think of one. I'm like, I'll do it now. Could I? I couldn't turn my brain off as I'm sat there. I'm like, I haven't done the washing. These things come in and they're all kind of requests for my energy. And what I do now is I do it in the morning when I get up. I just turn the volume down. Haven't done the washing. Oh, can't hear you. Oh, you got to do it. Can't hear you. Oh, is your volume too loud? Can't hear you. And I just keep going until all the volume knobs in my life, in my head, are turned down and it's quiet. It's so good. And it's interesting because I went to a workshop once. It was called Do We Really Need to Sit Still? And I thought, great, of course we don't, for goodness sake, I hate sitting still. Of course we don't. Yes, we shouldn't be sitting still in schools. I'm going to that workshop. Yes. And I went to the workshop and the answer was yes. It wasn't an ironic thing of let's move around. It was, no, let's actually sit still for a minute. And we sat still for a minute and we breathed, and I don't even know what happened. I guess it was meditation, but I opened my eyes, and one, it felt like I'd been there for an hour, and two, I was just clear-headed. I mean, it was like a different me. It was a being jazz, not doing jazz. It was amazing. So, so I do that. I just sit and be, which is so nice. And it's not my natural tendency, and it's not my natural state, and it's not what I find easiest, but it is something that I get a lot of energy from. Hey, Abby, my favourite PA. And this is the thing. If your narrative is, I want to do the best I can, I want to be the best, I want to give my all, good. well then rest. Because if you keep giving and keep serving and keep showing up for people, you don't have anything less for yourself. It's tea. This was my great thing. So I'm a massive tea drinker. I don't really drink alcohol unless I'm with Hannah Wilson, who has a really negative effect on my alcohol intake, because she can drink, like, I take like an hour maybe to drink a gin. She's a lot quicker. So by the time she's got on a third, I've got 3 lined up. Anyway, let's not go there because I've still got a headache thinking about it. But, so I don't really drink alcohol, but I do drink tea. I love tea. Positivity. This one, oh, this is a Pucker organic cardamom. I know, it's all very fancy, but what, you drink Stella, so I can't have something nice. So every time someone comes to my house, I always try and like force my tea on them. So I've got this tea rack with all these different teas, and I make my own tea. I buy like organic rooibos base, and then I add cardamom pods and cinnamon and fennel to it. I make my own tea. So, and also I've been, when we used to get drains, I'd take my tea, I'd like make my loose tea and take it in a little, I've got these little tea strainers on my chain, everything, teacups, all that. So I'd pack it up and take it with me when I was travelling to do talks. So I could like have a bit of home comfort on the train. And I remember I used to do this all the time, I had a little envelope, little tin, got a little tobacco tin, I used to open it up, put my tea in and blah, blah. It wasn't a tobacco tin, it looked like a tobacco tin. And I was travelling with Amjad Ali once, and Amjad was like, I got my tea out on the train, and he was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what? He's like, what are you doing? Is that drugs? And I'm like, of course it's not drugs, it's tea. He's like, oh, it looks like, and I realised the way I have it all set up, it does to the untrained eye look like it could be medicinal, which it's tea, it's regular tea. So I don't do that now. So I have tea bags. Anyway, so I don't even know why I'm telling my story of when I almost got arrested on a train for trying to deal. Because I am trying to convince people to try different tea. And I've got to say, love you all. You know that. You know I'm for you, yeah? You know I love you. But when you come to my house and I offer you an organic vanilla rooibos and you say, no, have you got builders? You're a pagan. You're a Philistine, barbarian. Well, what do you mean have you got builders? This is like classic stuff. It's like I'm offering you a fine wine and you're going, no, give us a can. I get really cross. I really just want people to join me in my tea journey, and nobody wants to. Anyway, so tea. Whatever you tipple. The whole point of tea, you usually have a saucer. And what we tend to do is we have a full cup of tea, right? And then we let other people, have a drink of our tea. Cheers! I can't get it. I'm trying to... Oh, there we go. So we share our tea with other people, drink it, and then you got nothing left in the cup. That's a bad idea. The idea is that you fill this teacup up with a teapot. You fill it up till it's flowing over, and you keep filling it up. When it gets to the top and it comes over, you keep going. And that means that the tea goes into the saucer underneath. Then you can take the tea in this saucer and you can serve everybody with that tea. But guess what's happening? You are retaining a full cup. And when you bring the saucer back, it fills up again, and then you can fill again. So you constantly keep giving. So when you say, oh, I care about the kids, my class, I care about these people, I care about this, I can tell how much you care about them, but how much you care about yourself. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, here's the truth, girlfriend, you don't care. You don't care. You don't care sustainably. You care for now. It's indulgent. It's I keep going, I keep giving, I keep going, I keep giving. That is not a sustainable way of living. And what that is doing is turning you into an iPhone person where you're great for 3 years, then your battery's dead and we just chuck you away and get another one. You're better than that. You deserve better than that. The people you love deserve better than that. So stop playing around with your own well-being like it's some kind of optional extra. It's not. I get cross about this. I'm actually talking to myself. It's this thing of we play around with the way we treat ourselves like it's an optional extra. It's Christmas Day tomorrow. What do you get? You get like 80, 90 Christmases if you're lucky. I don't know where you are in the number of this one. In fact, if you ask people, if that's birth and that's death, where are you? Everyone goes, about here in the middle. Although I'm 50 now, so I guess because I'm planning on living to 100, so I guess I'm slap bang in the middle. But I don't know where you are in your journey of, travelling towards the end of your 80 Christmases or 90 Christmases, but make them count. Make them count. Not for being with family and travelling and eating yourself sick and farting because you've had too many Brussels. Make them count. Tomorrow, give the best gift to people who you love, which is the gift of giving time and rest to yourself so that you can show up full fat you and serve each other and serve people. Please. You know, I'll tell you why, here's the world according to me. I'll tell you why most people's relationship is in a mess, right? I need to say, hey, Mrs. K, good. I'll tell you why our relationship's getting a mess. Because we are firing on half a throttle the whole time because we've given so much away. We've given so much away. We've got this tiny bit of ourselves left, and then we expect to drive change on this like slither, wafer thin mint that was once our whole self. Now, I'm not coming from a place where I get this right. I get this wrong all the time, but I know I get it wrong, and I know that I can reset, and I know how to reset, and I have people around me. I talked yesterday about my shield. So I have my squad who I'll call up and they'll go, are you taking care of yourself? So I've got this one friend, she was here yesterday, Charlie Deland. Love this woman. So Charlie is the polar opposite to me. And I remember when we first got together, I used to think, how are we, why are we friends? Because we're so chalk and cheese. She's everything I'm not. She's suave and stylish and classy and beautiful and everything. Like, she doesn't have a lot of stuff in her house. It's all like white and crisp. And I remember when we were friends at the beginning, I remember going around to her house going, where's all your stuff? And she's like, what stuff? I'm like, you know, stuff like ornaments and pictures and books and just stuff. And she said, Jazz, I collect space. And I'm like, wow, I want to collect space. And I declutter my entire house. But she's just got this way of being, and everything she does so beautifully. She's really nurturing, and she's the best gift giver, and she's always coming up with these amazing ideas and surprising and delighting me the whole time. And yeah, obviously that's why I'm her friend, because I know why I know what she gets from me. But anyway, we've been friends for about 15 years now, and Charlie she has Charlieisms and things that she says and does. But what I observe about Charlie, and I remember at the beginning, honestly, and I've told her this, thinking, wow, you are like really. You really put yourself first, girl. She goes, yes, I do, because I'm important. And I'm like, yes, so am I. And she will, if we're all trying to do something, she doesn't want to do it, she'll go, no, that doesn't suit me. That doesn't suit me. What a lovely phrase. No, that doesn't suit me. It's like, no, it doesn't suit me. And I love her ability to ring fence and put boundaries in place and then say no when you get to a boundary. And the thing is, we don't do this. We're not good at this. We are constantly, even when we set boundaries, someone will go, well, I want to walk over that. And we'll go, okay, yeah, I'll move it back a bit, or I'll move it that way. All right. And before you know it, he's stretched all out of shape. You like that jumper I'm still keeping. Maybe one day I'll grow an arm that's an extra 2 feet long and it will fit me again. But we stretch ourselves out of shape in order to accommodate. You're not accommodating, you're just shortening your lifespan. So if you're going out of your way to make sure your kids or your family have the best Christmas ever, you're actually stealing from them if it's wearing you out. You're stealing from them because you're stealing yourself. Like, I could go back in the house now and choke. I could go back in the house now and say, right, come on, we've got to clean, we've got to do this, because I want to get ready tomorrow. I could do that. Yeah, and the house will be ready. But actually what I'm going to do is go back in the house and play chess with my youngest son. Although he does keep frustrating. I seems. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye. For a. See how that works for you.